Well, E3 is still going on, but the Battlefield presentations for E3 and EA Play have been concluded. So what have we learned, or at least what have I learned, because there is still a lot of information coming out, same just like they had done during the big Battlefield reveal in May for us, which is some pretty interesting stuff because Wesley had a really good interview with Daniel Berlin today, who touched base on a little bit of this. Wesley basically asked them about the whole information, what they could have done better, and Daniel Berlin confirmed what we were hearing through the EA Game Changers, that they gave out a lot of information for the EA Game Changers in the press, but it didn't get out as much to the public, and they're hoping to do it better this time. But how he said they were going about doing this was having people being able to play the game at E3 and things like that. From my position, I would have liked a little bit more information from the actual presentations themselves, but it seems like they are really trusting the EA Game Changers community, who are doing an amazing job, in my opinion, giving out the information. Still would have liked a bit more from the presentation, or at least them saying, go to the Battlefield Twitter page, where we'll have a tweet out for all of the EA Game Changers YouTube pages for you to go check out. Even though they are kind of doing that right now, it's still not one big formal massive letter to give us all the information, as I still think there's a lot of still EA Game Changers who are bringing out YouTube videos that haven't been tweeted out on the channel for the Battlefield Twitter page. So I would have liked it a little bit more cleaner and clearer than that. It's easier for people more seasoned in the Battlefield community like me to find it, but I'm thinking more for people who would not be as accustomed to what Battlefield does, and introducing new players or people who don't follow it, you know, in a day-to-day basis. So would have liked that a little bit more. He does touch base a little bit on the whole trailer issue that you know, was a big controversy about that, and confirmed what I had been thinking, where they were trying to pack in a lot of information in that trailer, and that was really the idea behind it. So again, someone like myself who follows word by word what DICE does, I'm able to pick up on these things much easier than maybe someone who doesn't follow EA DICE a lot and comes to it and they're going to experience something completely different. So would have worked out really well for the more solid base of Battlefield, but for people who come in and out of Battlefield, wasn't all too great. But their new gameplay trailer, I think, has worked out a bit better, at least from the YouTube and the likes on both of those videos. He didn't quite appease maybe some of the people who still don't like the customizations in the game, as it seems like from what Daniel was saying, there will be the customizations still there, and the way he's appeasing all of the players is basically saying, if you don't like the customizations, don't use them. So that seems to be the approach. So that might not appease a lot of people out there who still would not like to see them on the battlefield at all, but DICE's way of being inclusive and wanting everyone to, you know, have the options to do it. If you don't want to do it, you don't have to, and if you do want to do it, you can. So that's the approach they want to take it. Love it or hate it, that's just how it is. But moving on to the gameplay features, one of them being the suppression, that has been confirmed that it will no longer affect your gun and the mechanics of it when you're being suppressed. So they've made that very clear, that whatever they do to suppression, as it's still an evolving feature in Battlefield 5, that it will not affect gunplay mechanics. Now they are messing with it, especially in this build, over things like the visuals and things like 3D spotting. So if you are suppressing an enemy player, it does 3D spot that player, but that spot will dissipate the moment that player goes behind any sort of cover. So it's not going to be able to follow him through walls, but it will spot that player. So that's pretty interesting, as 3D spotting is not in the game at all. All you can really do is spotting wise, it's just spot areas on the map. So, you know, you can't, again, 3D spot, except in this situation for the build we have right now. Do keep in mind, we are really, really early into Battlefield still. It's like a pre-alpha build or whatever, closed alpha, and it's, you know, very limited type of stuff that's coming out still. And those things are still going to be evolving. What we do know is the suppression will not affect the gun mechanics, but they still want to have it as some sort of impact. So I think they're still discovering how they're going to do that more in the future. So it will be interesting to see how it evolves from here. Another big feature, or at least the removal of a big feature, is the sweet spot mechanic for the Scout class will not be returning to Battlefield 5. Instead, they will be enlarging the hitbox for the headshots and they're moving the headshot multiplier from 1.7 to 1.9. So this is a bit of a trade-off here, where if you want to get that one-shot kill, you're going to have to aim for the head, but that hitbox is a bit larger. So I'm not too bothered by it. It did seem from the gameplay I have been looking at, people were getting a bit more headshots than usual. Could just be from my perspective, but feel free to let me know your guys' thoughts about this if you're liking the change from the sweet spot mechanic and moving that over more to what we have going on right now. And now let's talk a little bit about vehicles, something I probably could have concluded previously before EA Play, but wasn't directly communicated to me, so I didn't quite make it there. But EA Play basically showed that you will have to be resupplied while using the tanks or the airplanes. So you will not have unlimited ammo using either of these vehicles, just like how we knew this attrition theme was coming to the infantry players. Same will be the case for these vehicles. So no longer will you be able to be a tanker class and be able to post up somewhere and then shell enemy players over and over again, but eventually you will have to go back and get resupplied. Same with the planes, and in the planes case, it will be like balloons that are up in the air and you have to circle around them to get resupplied. So you don't have to get out of your vehicles, but you have to move back to those supply stations, get resupplied, and make yourself back into the battlefield that way. Now those are some of the big features that caught my attention during this big EA Play E3 events. Now there were a lot of little things that are popping up here and there that I'm still learning from and still discovering, but I think the majority of the stuff that I'm seeing were already confirmed through the EA game changes previously that first came out during the first reveal in May for us. So that's what I'm kind of finding out more about. I think this is just more the visual representation of what we were hearing, but there are little things here and there to take in consideration, like we're seeing a lot of weather dynamics. Some are saying too much. I'm leaning on that as well too. There is a lot of snow there. Again, we're very early onto this, so expect a lot of changes still from here. Also, I've seen little things like this gadget on the ground from the squad leader, which does appear to be like a spawn beacon. We did see this in the actual incursions gameplay, where the squad leader is able to lay down a spawn beacon, so that could be something that could be there as well. We'll find out more about this stuff later, but again, more of the stuff that I did see was already confirmed through what the EA game changers were revealing to us. We'll find out more here in the next week coming up here, so that what the EA game changers bring out, more interviews and so on. So I'm sure if you guys are following the Battlefield Twitter page, and be sure to keep an eye out for the EA game changers, or check out my channel, because I will be following all this stuff as well, and any big information and news that we hear, I'll be sure to post it on this channel. But that is it for you guys today. Again, I always appreciate you guys being here. I am Living, and I'll catch you guys again later.